Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Feminine Somatic Healing, Expressive Movement and Meditative States for Cultivating Safety and Wholeness. My name is Stephen Dine. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I'm really thrilled to be getting to know and bring to you a remarkable teacher. Her name is Mana Mei. She's a feminine embodiment mentor and founder of Mana Movement. And her work really goes to the heart of how we take spiritual awakening and transformation out of a kind of a lofty place and into a really embodied and pleasurable and joyful place. And that's ultimately where I think the real transformation happens. And so we're going to get to explore the contours of feminine somatic healing some here today. And if you get excited for today, then we have a brand new program with Mana that's called Feminine Somatic Healing. Cultivate safety and wholeness through embodied archetypal expression in meditative states. And we'll share more about that towards the end of the hour. So with that said, Mana, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Stephen. Really honored to be here with you.
Great. Well, let's dive in with a bit about first your journey that brought you into feminine somatic healing as a modality and really sort of some of the things that you had to overcome to create this work.
Okay, it's a big question. So first and foremost, I'm a dancer for life. I started training classical ballet when I was 3 years old. I trained classical ballet through college. I studied modern dance. I studied improvisation. I studied different kinds of somatic movement practices and just really got a really big toolbox of classical dance and technique under my belt, which was very beautiful. But one of the interesting things about that is that I was quite disconnected from my body, and I actually really hated my body. It was like an obstacle that I constantly had to overcome, that was constantly not good enough. And it was my biggest trauma, actually. So it's an interesting piece around my connection to dance from that perspective. And then when I was in my 20s, I found music festivals and I found ecstatic dance and I found a whole alternative culture where movement was focused on expression. It didn't matter how it looked, it didn't matter if you had training or technique, but getting on the dance floor was really about just expressing raw emotion and moving your body, what I say, from the inside out. So not focusing on how it looks, but how it feels. And that was a massive turning point in my relationship with movement, and I became obsessed. I was in ecstatic dance at least twice a week, and I was going to all of the transformational music festivals and just dancing for hours and hours and hours, and starting to already forge this reconnection with my understanding of what dance meant for me in my life. And then towards my late 20s, I was in a sort of dark night of the soul period of my life. I was in a very toxic relationship and I had my first child and was really, really struggling. And dance became my saving grace. Going to ecstatic dance and laying on the floor for an hour became my therapy. And it really is, like, to be honest, what I feel like saved my life during that period of just needing an outlet and not feeling safe in my body and feeling trapped, and then being able to go to this space where I felt really held and really safe to be myself, to move my emotions and to express my emotions. And through that process, I realized one of the reasons that I could drop into that space so deeply and find so much healing through dance was because partially of my technical background. Because I had all of these tools and all of this information on how to move the body, different dynamic ways to move the body. I had massive kinesthetic awareness. I had massive control over my body and a really large movement language. And that combined with finding the safe space for expression made it a really potent medicine for me.
Hmm.
So through that process, kind of once I was on the other side of that dark night of the soul, it just became really clear that this is something that I needed to share. It was that moment of being like, more people need to know about this. And, specifically in my eyes, women, because so much of this was part of my own healing journey with the feminine and being able to express the feminine and, the vast spectrum of how she can show up. And so that was the spark of inspiration to begin creating a modality of work that was accessible to anyone that wanted to use movement as medicine. And again, I knew part of that was trying to find ways to merge technical information on informing different ways to move the body, having more somatic awareness, having more kinesthetic awareness, with helping people drop into these deep meditative states where, again, they feel safe, creating these safe spaces for people to be able to connect with themselves and find freedom within that. And so many, many years later, it's been about a decade of me developing my work and just kind of playing with it and experimenting and being curious. And that has led me to, in the last 5 years, developing a practice called Mana Movement. Mana movement is meant to be that bridge for people who need healing, who want to have these transformational experiences, but maybe aren't necessarily dancers, but they want to also find a modality that is somatic, that brings you into your body and also works with the feminine energy. So working in these feminine pathways and really connecting with the more easeful and gentle path of healing. And so, yeah, again, that's led me to where I am now and the practice of Mana movement, which is the main practice that I've developed through that whole process of my life journey.
Well, it's an amazing journey, and it's beautiful how it's come to fruition in the work that you're bringing forward now. And I kind of want to bring us to that pivot between sort of the early dance, where you're sort of like hating your body because you're sort of imposing structure, form on like it's creating a control structure from the outside in a way, almost, or from top down, rather than this kind of sounds like a more organic unfolding. I want to maybe share a little bit about how that shift of orientation of letting the body express or more organically versus like here's the discipline and form really helps to shift into more of a healing mode.
Yeah, so I think a big piece is, with technical dance and classical dance. And again, there's so much beauty in those traditional art forms. So there is value in that. But one of the things that was really hard is the fact that there was such a clear right and wrong. There's a right way to do it, there's a wrong way. There's a way to be good at it, and there's a way to be bad at it. And so there's just so much pressure for perfection that comes with that. And with that pressure for perfection comes one of our deepest wounds, which is not feeling enough, not feeling good enough, not feeling flexible enough, not feeling skinny enough, not feeling pretty enough. And just the perpetuation of those really deep wounds that so many humans hold anyways. And so one of the biggest pieces was how can we let go of our idea that there's a right and wrong way to move, that there's a right and wrong way to dance? Because when we are turning our attention inside and we're starting with the energy, we're starting with the internal impulses, which is energy, which is emotion, which is breath or the pulse of the heart, and then allowing that to be the point of initiation for the movement coming out, then we start to express in a way that is authentic. And from that place of moving the body from authenticity, there can't be a right or wrong. There can't be a good or bad because it really is just the purity of our own authentic expression. And that's going to look different for every body and every person. And so that, it is a big shift. I will say it's a big shift, and it's something that takes practice. But it's that shift from the outside to the inside. And so, as we go deeper into talking about my work, that's such a big piece of it, is understanding that the shift that we need is to come back inside, to find that point of initiation from the internal landscape, from the internal impulses, and allow that to be what births through the body into the world, and connecting with the perfection of that for each of us authentically and uniquely.
Hmm. So you had mentioned safety several times and finding that place of safety. So I imagine that a lot of that is not so much just the external safety, is it like safety of how we're relating with our own body? It sounds like too, is like we're creating that sense of like, oh, we're a safe person to be with our own body.
Absolutely. Again, it's the same idea of shifting the focus from external to internal. So, you know, a lot of what we've been taught to do is to try to create safety in our external world by, having our finances in order and having security and having a home and having kind of setting up our environment, having a stable job so that we feel some sense of safety in our life. The problem is that life is completely unpredictable and all of that could be turned upside down at any moment. And so, if that happens, if all of these things we've set up to create that safety in the world around us gets all of a sudden shaken up, what are we left with? And so the shift is understanding that no, we need to cultivate that unwavering safety within our own body, within this home that's always with us, and within our own internal landscape. Because no matter what happens around us, if we have that place of stability and safety within ourselves, which I call the inner anchor, then we know that no matter what happens, we're okay. We'll be okay because we have this. And what that allows us to do is then to open up to more of life, to take more chances, to do things that we're scared of, to do things that are uncertain and unknown because we know that no matter what happens, we've got ourselves. We've got this place of safety within our own body.
Nice. Well, it really provides a very helpful big picture framework for the work you're bringing forward. So let's go into some of the other foundations of Mana movement and what are the sort of the key ingredients and how you build into that sense of safe, organic, innate intelligence moving through you.
Yeah, perfect. So, the beauty about embodiment work and practices like mana movement is that it's all experiential. Of course, there are a lot of concepts that come into play in theory, but the power of it is in doing it and actually feeling that felt sense of safety in your own body. Because I can talk till I'm blue in the face about, feeling safe in your body, feeling safe in your body. But unless someone actually experiences that, then you don't really know what we're talking about. So the biggest medicine of mana movement is having a practice that is simple and effective in creating the embodied experience of feeling that place of inner safety. And the way we do that is a few ways. One of the biggest ways is increasing our interoception. Interoception is our feeling body awareness. Can I feel the tingles on my skin? Can I feel the sensation of my muscles? Can I feel tension? Can I feel heaviness? Can I feel my bones and my joints? And starting to become more aware of what this body feels like. And this already is really big work for a lot of people because a lot of people have disassociated from their body, have numbed, have disconnected as a protection mechanism so that we can get through life and survive through life with all of the stresses and all the intensities without, dissolving into a puddle. And so I've had clients come to me after one session who are like, this is literally the first time I've ever felt anything. And so that is such a foundational place to start. Can we slow down enough? Can we slow down the mind enough? Use the mind to bring us into presence with the physical body so that we can start cultivating the ability to actually feel the body. Because if we can't feel the body, then there's no safety there. How can we feel safe in a vehicle that we can't even feel ourselves? So that's number one foundation of mana movement is increasing our feeling body awareness to actually land in the body. And again, one of the most important ways that we can do that is slowing down, actually creating the space for us to be with our body, closing the door, locking ourselves in the bedroom, and just claiming that space to be with our body and really trying to leave everything else aside. And again, this is probably the hardest part for most people is prioritizing creating that safe space. And so, another piece that creates safety in the body through mana movement is, again, what I mentioned before, kinesthetic awareness, which just means I know where my body is in space. I know when my arms are up. I know when my arms are down. I know how far they can stretch. I know how, all the different ways my fingers can move. I know how much they can crunch up and extend. And just becoming more aware of what this body can actually do. Because again, once we feel that we have that awareness and that control over the way we move our body, then that creates safety. Then we feel safe in this vessel. And from there, we can start opening to more freedom, more expression that wants to come through. So within Mana Movement, we're working with both safety and freedom, but safety has to come first. Once we feel safe, then we can open, just like I said before, then we can open to more uncertainty, more of the unknown, and allow ourselves to explore more realms of our freedom through creating safety first.
Beautifully shared. And I'm curious about where there, if you, as you're in the process of inhabiting your body and feeling the sensations more, like when you find areas that are particularly blocked or have been traumatized in some way, how are you working with that to sort of reanimate or reconnect with a more, maybe more specific area that needs more attention or work?
Right. So Mana movement specifically works with the feminine pathways, which means we are all of the movements we're doing are in circles, spirals, and waves. And this is so that we can reconnect with the natural flow of energy that wants to move through us, which surges in and out, it ebbs and flows, and energy moves in these different feminine pathways. So already, just by doing the movements, we're already starting to increase the natural flow of energy that wants to move through and clearing stagnation and blockages. So these different tensions we find in the body, and that can be physical, it can be energetic, it can feel like a big emotion that wants to come through, it can feel like a tightness in part of your body. This is all stagnation of energy. And so just by doing the simple practice of spiraling the torso, we're already inviting the body to move these blockages through, release the tensions, and of course, then giving ourselves that permission slip to express that in whatever way it wants to come through. If there's a big emotion coming through, if there's a pain or a sadness, allowing ourselves to move with that, allowing ourselves to breathe with it, and feeling again safe in that form of expression. So there's different qualities of mana movement. There's things that are specifically for release. There's targeting specific areas of the body. But the idea is that we go through the whole body in these different movements. And yes, find where we have stagnation, find where we have blockages. And then simply just by breathing into those areas and moving them in these gentle patterns, that's enough. That's already enough to start the energy moving. And we don't even have to know what the story is that's connected to that blockage. We don't have to know what the trauma is or the pain is. We just stay with the body, keep our attention there, and the energy will start to move.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's set a really great understanding of the big picture context and some of the foundations. So I think now would be a great time to do a more experiential taste of the work.
Perfect. Perfect. Amazing. Okay, so this is going to be a seated practice, and I'm going to bring you through just very foundational, simple mana movements, just to understand, what it is in practice and to start to hopefully feel some of these concepts that we're talking about here, the safety, the freedom, the feminine pathways through the body, and how we can really connect with that place of inner presence. Okay, so we're just going to start in a simple cross-legged seated position and do what you need for your body. If you need to keep your legs straight, that's fine. If you need to put a pillow under your tailbone, just whatever you need to be comfortable. And we're just going to rest the hands on the knees and close the eyes. And as you close your eyes, just bringing your body to stillness. And as you allow your body to come to stillness, taking a few nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with every inhale, feeling that slight sense of opening and expansion through the body, like you're filling up with air. And with every exhale, feeling a sense of softening through the body and a grounding even deeper into presence. Inhaling, expanding, opening. Exhaling, softening, and grounding. And already, just with the breath, we can start feeling this dynamic duo of safety and freedom. As we inhale, we feel the openness, the freedom. And as we exhale, we feel a sense of safety, of grounding deeper into our body. Every breath is a reminder of our freedom and our safety. And then on the next inhale, let's go ahead and open our arms wide. And just holding here for a moment and feeling the air around the fingers and in the palms, around the arms. Feeling the energy running from the ends of the pinky fingers through the heart and out the other side. And we're going to take one more inhale here. And then as we exhale, we're just going to gently float the arms down in front of the body, crossing the wrists at the bottom. And then as we inhale, we're going to pull the arms all the way up, lifting the head, the chest, reaching up towards the sky. And then exhaling, fountaining the arms back down. Good. We're going to repeat that 5 more times. So inhaling, pulling the energy up through the center channel from the earth all the way through the crown. And exhaling through the mouth, softly fountaining the arms back down. And go ahead and close your eyes and just feel this in your body. As we inhale, pulling the energy up through the root of the body, expanding through the center channel, through the crown. And then as we exhale, softening the energy back down to the earth. Deep inhale as we pull up. Long exhale as we soften down. 2 more times like this, just at your own pace. Seeing if you can keep your body nice and soft. Staying with the movement. Nice long breaths. One more time. Good. And this time at the end of the exhale, we're going to open the arms wide and then we're going to cross the arms over and just give ourselves a nice little hug. And you can just imagine that you're hugging around your heart, taking this moment to hug your body, to come into acknowledgement of your body, reconnecting with it through the touch and the breath. And then on the next inhale, we're going to open our arms as if they're wings. So we're going to spread them to the side. And once we spread the fingers all the way back, we're going to open the chest and the head up towards the sky. And then as we exhale, we're going to gently fold the arms back over the body. So we're going to go into the slow motion flying, inhaling, expanding the wings all the way out the ends of the fingers, lifting the head and the heart, exhaling, softening the arms around the body. Inhaling, unfurling the wings to the sides. Exhaling, softening the wings around the body. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, softening. Nice deep breaths. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhaling, opening the wings, feeling that expansion, that freedom. Exhaling, softening around the body, feeling that safety, that homecoming. One more time like this. And at the end of the exhale, we're going to hug back again, giving a tight little squeeze here. And we're going to move to a fast release motion. So we're going to use a fire breath, meaning we're going to inhale through the nose and then push the breath out through the mouth as we swing the arms wide. So we're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to swing the arms wide. Keep going, 10 more. Just letting the arms really go loose, allowing the energy to release off of the fingertips. 2 more. Then we're going to return to our long breath and just shake out the hands. Shaking out the hands, shaking out the fingers, all different directions, shaking up into the arms, shaking through the elbows, shaking into the shoulders, shaking into the chest, and then shaking the head out, shaking the neck, moving all the muscles in the face around, maybe sticking your tongue out and shaking your tongue. And then we're going to do 3 breaths in the shake with a sound on the exhale, shaking out the voice. Inhaling. Just nice loose arms. One more time. Good. Deep inhale, opening the arms wide, taking a pause here. And just feeling the tingling through the arms, the activation through the skin, the energy moving all the way out through the fingertips, the lightness, the openness. And we're going to do one more big unfurl like we did at the beginning. So we're going to exhale, floating the arms down. Inhaling, pulling up through the center. Exhaling, bringing the hands back down to the knees. This time as we inhale, we're going to push the chest forward, opening the heart. And then as we exhale, we're going to spiral the chest back, softening to the back. Inhaling, spiraling forward. So just starting a simple spiraling of the torso. But we're going to start with our focus on the heart. So go ahead and take your fingers and tap them along the sternum, tapping them over the heart. And closing your eyes and just taking a moment to acknowledge your heart, to notice what's present. Is there a heaviness, a lightness? Is there a tension in the heart? Is there a sense of holding? Whatever's there, just breathing with it, acknowledging it, and inviting a softness into the heart. And then you can rest your hands back on your knees, and we're going to keep spiraling, but now we're going to bring our attention down through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. So bringing the movement down through the spine, spiraling down to the tailbone. Seeing if you can bring some movement even into the hips and the pelvis. And then imagining that that spiral is descending all the way down into the earth, rooting down towards the core of the earth, creating that sense of safety and connection beneath you. And then when you're ready, we're going to switch direction of the spiral and we're going to start bringing that spiral back up from the core of the earth, back through the layers of the earth, connecting back to our own roots, traveling back through the hips and the pelvis, and now bringing that spiral all the way up, vertebrae by vertebrae, back up between the shoulders, behind the heart, and now bringing that spiral all the way up into the neck, And sending that spiral all the way up through the head, expanding through the crown, feeling the energy expand past the crown all the way up to the sky. Sending your energy up and out. And then bringing that spiral back down and just allowing it to open up to find where the spiral wants to travel up and down through your spine from root to crown. Just listening to your body. How does it want to spiral right now? Does it need to be bigger, smaller, faster, slower? And then we're going to keep spiraling, but just bring the hands off of the knees and just allow them to simply float in the air as if they were just pieces of seaweed moving in the currents of the waters. And you can imagine that the arms become an extension of the spiraling movement, allowing the energy now to also move down through the arms and out the fingers. And then we're going to go into a short little free flow here. So allowing your spine now to move in different directions, finding all the ways it can wave and spiral and circle, feeling these feminine pathways through the spine, feeling the waves, the circling, the spiraling, just staying nice and gentle, keeping your eyes closed and just listening to your body. Allowing it to guide you. There's no wrong way to do this. Connecting with your own movements within these feminine pathways. We'll take one more breath here. And then coming back to neutral, bringing the hands back and open. We're going to do 3 big arm unfurls. So exhaling, floating the arms down. Inhaling, pulling up through the center, clearing the energy. Exhaling, floating the arms down. Inhaling, pulling the new energy through the body, expanding through the crown. Exhaling, floating down. One more time, refreshing, rejuvenating the energy. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the knees, palms up. Just taking a pause here. Feeling the body, noticing the gentle ebb and flow and spiraling within. The clarity of the center channel, the activation through the arms. And then we're just going to take the fingers and start moving the fingers around. And the goal here is just to find all the different ways the joints and all the different fingers can move. Sticking with these spirals and waves, but just in the fingers, bringing all of our attention here, just the movement of the fingers. And we'll bring that up into the wrists, moving the wrists in circles and spirals, waving them up and down. And then we'll move that up to the elbows, waving the elbows up and down, circling them in different directions. Again, activating these feminine pathways through every part of the body. Starting to learn all the different ways your body can move. And then bringing that up to the shoulders, same thing, just finding all the different ways the shoulders can circle and wave. And remember, there's no wrong way to do this. This is just you exploring curiously your own body, the movement that's possible in it. And then we're going to bring this into the full length of the arm. So just starting to find all the different ways you can create circles and spirals and waves through all these different parts of the arms, fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders. And try to take up more of the space above you and around you, reaching out in every direction. Maybe reaching behind your back, maybe coming close to the body. And keep breathing. You can close your eyes. You can move slower if you need. Re-meeting your body, place of curiosity and exploration. And then as you continue exploring with your arms, just for these last few moments, we're going to bring our spine back into it. Just starting to remember those waves of the spine, all of the different articulations, the spirals. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Continuing to breathe deeply, inhaling more freedom, more permission in your movements, exhaling more softness and safety in your body. And then bringing your hands back to your knees in a neutral position. And taking one more moment to feel here. Just noticing what's alive. Noticing the activation through your trunk, from tailbone to crown. Noticing the aliveness through the hands and the arms. And we're going to reground the energy to close our practice. So this time we're going to flip the palms up, and as we inhale, we're going to bring the arms overhead as if we're gathering the energy up above the crown. And then as we exhale, we're going to turn the palms down and send the energy down through the body, grounding it down to your core and then anchoring it down towards the earth. Good. Inhaling, gathering up. Taking all of that aliveness and activation and exhaling it, sending it down the center channel of the body, grounding it into your core, anchoring it down into the earth. Inhaling up. Exhaling, centering, and grounding. Settling the nervous system, coming back to a place of peace and clarity. Let's do one more time. And then you can place your hands back on your knees. And we'll take one more moment here. And just returning to an easy, normal breath. Seeing if you can maintain this sense of softness and openness in your body while also feeling grounded, connected within, with more clarity, returning to that natural flow of energy as it ebbs and flows and spirals and waves within you at every breath, realigning you with this natural pulse of life, reconnecting you with your innate sense of safety and your potential for freedom of expression. And then when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and bring yourself out of your practice.
Beautiful. Well, as you transition back up to the front there, yeah, I love the combination of very, it feels like sometimes when I'm in a really good groove, I'll get more of the, I call it the temple dancer kind of moves going. It's just like flow, like your hands and arms just flowing with the flow of energy.
Mhm.
Very, very beautiful and interesting to do that in a kind of a little bit more structured way, but that it still has that organic unfolding, like that you're surprising yourself. I also wanted to ask you, you had said, talked a lot about how the slowness helps you kind of inhabit and create more safety, but you did have some places where you kind of did some faster movements too, and why the sort of the expanding into that direction too can be helpful.
Yeah, so there's all of the potentials. I think that the invitation for slowing down and stillness is really important because it's something that so many people have such a hard time with because we're so busy and we've got so much to do and all the places to be that that is really the hardest step is the art of arriving and being in presence with the body. But all kinds of movement have medicine, right? We do these these release practices and these shakings. And those are really meant to, like we talked about earlier, pinpoint these blockages and the points of tension and also give tools for releasing energy in a different way. And one of the things that I will go a lot deeper into during the program is this work in relationship to the nervous system. That's like a whole nother conversation. But within that, there's different tools that we can use to self-regulate the nervous system. There's grounding and settling the nervous system, which is the long exhales. It's the down regulation. It's the slowing down. It's the stillness. It's these regrounding movements. But also, we need to learn how to activate the nervous system as well. And that's going to be the fast breaths and the fast movements and learning how to create healthy activation because we're all on a different journey with how we need to regulate the nervous system. And so having these different tools is really valuable because it's not just about me sitting here and telling you how to move your body and that being it. This is about empowering people to become their own leader of their healing journey. And the only way we can do that is by learning how to self-regulate the nervous system. We need to know how to activate the nervous system. We need to know how to settle the nervous system and to gain these different tools so that we have the different options. So we do things about slowing down, we do things about speeding up so that we can understand how to work with these different tools within our own journey.
Well, it's very clear, Mana, what a depth of sophistication you have with this work. And it's really, in some ways, you're just so perfectly prepared, having done the formal dance training and then the more organic and healing work to create this really embodied and quite beautiful way of being with ourselves and our bodies. So thank you. I think now would be a great time to talk more explicitly about your upcoming course, which is a unique opportunity to go deep into this emergent modality and and harvest some of the benefits of all that Mana has studied over the last decades. So the course is called Feminine Somatic Healing: Cultivate Safety and Wholeness Through Embodied Archetypal Expression and Meditative States. You can find it at the URL femininesomatichealing.com, femininesomatichealing.com. It's a 7-week program. There are no prerequisites. It's just if you feel intuitively drawn. And so, Mana, I'd love for you to share a little bit about who this is for and what they can expect to come away with by the end of the program. Then we can go through the modules.
Yeah, absolutely. So this program is really designed specifically for women who are on some sort of healing journey or journey of transformation, which, is kind of everyone if we're really honest with ourselves. But women who specifically, again, want to find a pathway, a modality, an accessible practice that is in alignment with the feminine way. Meaning it focuses on softness, on gentleness, of cultivating pleasure and beauty versus growing by hardness and force. It's really the rewriting of that old saying, no pain, no gain. And I am really here to help women understand that there is another way, that we can grow and transform and have, these amazing, expansive evolutions that we want in a way that actually feels fun and joyful and pleasurable and invites more of our feminine power to come through. Um, and of course, for women who are interested in movement and dance, and like you said, there's no prerequisites. You don't have to be a dancer. You don't have to have ever danced a day in your life, but there will be a requirement for opening and being curious to connect with that form of expression in your own body, to really receive the movement codes and use it as a medicine.
So module 1 is called Return to the Feminine Way and Awaken Somatic Freedom to Cultivate Safety in the Body.
So, this first module will really be about setting the foundation because, like I said, the only way to understand the power of embodiment work is by actually doing it in your own body. But we also need to honor what the mind needs. And the mind usually needs information about what am I doing? Why does it work? How does it work? And so, in this first module, we're really going to go through the foundations of My modality will go deeper into safety and freedom, we'll go deeper into regulation of the nervous system and understanding how this work, mana movement, works as a somatic healing modality, and just laying that really strong foundation of understanding so that we can really lean into and open to the movement practices.
Module 2, reclaim pleasure and aliveness through the archetypal expression of the joyous body.
The joyous body is a really fun one. This is where we just get to expand our kinesthetic awareness and find out what this body can do, all the different ways it can move, and the power of, again, connecting deeper with the language of the body to set this foundation of safety so that we can really go deep through the different modules and open up more and more. So the joyous body is really about creating safety in the body through gaining this kinesthetic awareness.
Module 3, embrace the skeleton woman to surrender through life's transitions.
So the skeleton woman is all about cycles. It's really remembering that we are cyclical beings, that we're not meant to be doing 100%, 100% of the time. And how can we really honor the pulse of life as it ebbs and flows, honoring our cycles of our breath and our moon cycle and our seasons, and really realigning with that natural flow of life as a way to realign with also the feminine way to create more ease and sustainability in the big spectrum of our life flow.
Module 4, embody the creatrix to transmute emotions into creativity and vitality.
So the creatrix is all about how can we take life and turn it into art? How can we take our pain? How can we take our rage? How can we take our fears, our sadness, and actually harness the power of any emotion and transmute it into creation? And this is one of the powers of the feminine. We are creators. We want to create. No matter what you do in your life, if you are a woman, you are a creator. And so this is about reconnecting with your power as a creator and how can we use our emotions and our energy as a source of power to create and manifest what we want to manifest in our life.
Module 5, leading through truth and embodied power with the Jaguar Priestess.
So the Jaguar Priestess is one of my favorites. She is about leadership, becoming the leader of your life, embodying your values, understanding what it means to be in integrity and being a stand for the feminine, standing up for the feminine power and showing up in the world every moment of life from a place of authenticity with healthy boundaries, with our sword of truth being planted in the earth and really being able to move through the world from that place of feeling embodied and empowered.
Module 6, opening the heart of coherence with the compassionate mother archetype.
So the compassionate mother is really taking all of these different archetypes that we will have studied and bringing it back to the source, which is the heart. So we take everything in and we come back to the purity of the heart, how we can lead a life heart forward, knowing that we have all of these other archetypes within us. We can open to the coherence of life within us and around us, creating more of that heart-led living while we are also still really grounded in our authenticity and our truth. So this comes back to kind of that warm hug and the safety of our home and how we can hold space for ourselves and hold space for everything else in our life.
And finally, Module 7, I Am Woman, integration for embodied liberation.
So this is the part where we really get to understand how all of this applies to your life. How do you use all of these different archetypes as tools to really support you in your everyday life? Understanding that you have the potential to call forward and activate any of these at any moment. And these archetypes can really become applicable tools to support you at every phase of your life, no matter what challenges you're meeting.
Well, what a beautiful program. And clearly, it is a really unique fusion of a lot of different perspectives into one embodied practice of liberation. So, again, the whole program is laid out in detail at femininesomatichealing.com. I'll share a little bit more about it. So you get seven 90-minute live sessions with Mana, which are going to be really rich with practices. Also have time to ask your questions live, which is really helpful. You also get recordings of every session, both video and audio, which is great. So you can go back and do the practices again and again. There's word-for-word transcripts that are helpful as well. Weekly practices you can do at home, as well as a community group to support you and deepen your experience. And on the page, you'll also see there are a number of extra bonuses, each of which is enhancing your journey. There's a PDF and audio recording by Mana called Painting Space, Embodied Movement Practice for Manifestation. You want to share a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, sure. This is one of my favorite movement meditations, and it's really about, again, how we can use the body as a bridge between the potential of what we want to create and how we actually create that in the world, understanding that the body is the vehicle for that. And so it's really rich in visualization where you will get to physically paint your masterpiece around you using the movement of your body.
Love that. Really cool. The second bonus on the page that you'll find is another video masterclass recording by Mana. It's called This is for Women Who Feel. It's a masterclass. So you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this masterclass is related to the Creatrix, but it goes much, much deeper, where this is all about our power of our emotions, how to really use our emotions as one of our biggest sources of power to embrace being a feeling human, and how to really master the art of energetic transmutation to use that again to create the masterpiece of your life.
And that's the second bonus. And then there's actually a third bonus if you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. We like to do this as it will give you a little extra encouragement to take the time now to read through the page at Feminine Somatic Healing, tune in with what you've heard and experienced in this hour with Mana. And if you choose to move forward, you're going to have an extra incentive bonus for doing that. So this is a PDF ebook and audio recording called Liberation Through Movement, Transmuting Stagnant Energy into Activated Feminine Power. Want to share more about that special bonus they get today, Mana?
Yeah, so this is a really simple step-by-step outline of how you can take any emotion, any energy, and transmute it into usable power. And so I go through the steps of that process. It's a five-step process. And then there's also included a couple guided embodiment practices to really help you feel that power in your body. So this will give you a really nice scope of understanding of what that process looks like and how actually accessible it is for anyone that wants to use it.
Well, it's a great extra bonus, and that's the special bonus folks get if you sign up today. So it's clearly going to be such a beautiful and empowering program. And we've kept the investment very accessible for you. It's just three payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start December 10th and run Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. In this case, particularly having all the recordings and you can redo the practices again and again for years to come. It's a great blessing. So we also have on the page a lot of testimonials from women who have studied with Mana before. She is a permission slip for women all around the world to be their authentic selves. Beautiful, beautiful soul. Through her work, I've connected in with me fully, all of me. Profound, transformative, deep passage of giving myself permission to stand in my power. So a lot of great testimonials from those who have embarked on this work with Mana and really harvesting the benefits. So I encourage you to read through the whole page and tune in with your heart and your body and your deeper knowing. And if you get called to move forward, you're warmly welcome, and you will get that special bonus today, which is Liberation Through Movement. It's transmuting stagnant energy into activated feminine power. So, Mana, we're at the end of our time. It's been joy to be with you. Anything that's still on your heart that you want to share with folks who are considering doing the full course with you?
I'm so grateful for these opportunities. This work is, yeah, just my biggest passion in life because it has really been my own healing journey. And like I said at the beginning, I really believe that this saved my life. And the beautiful thing about programs like this is that we get to do it together. You don't have to feel alone on your journey. You can really know that you belong to this community of other women that are also on this journey of coming home to themselves and reconnecting with themselves. And that alone gives us so much strength. And so this is why we do programs like this together versus, just kind of doing something on your own. And so I really encourage any woman that feels that call to connect with other women, to connect with themselves, to connect with movement as medicine, to listen for that inner yes and to allow the body to guide you into something that could be profoundly life-changing. And like Stephen said, that can really be a tool that you use for the rest of your life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Mana, for your wisdom and your deep embodiment and the spirit of healing that permeates everything you've shared. And thank you all for joining. And if you'd like to go further with Mana's beautiful work, you can do so at femininesomatichealing.com, and you'll get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight. And I think you'll be very blessed to do so. So thank you, Mana, and thank you all for joining. Many
Yeah,
blessings.
thank you so much.